Here we go. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello. I think we are live.
Friends.
Kathy Wiseman, do you hear us? Okay. How was everyone's weekend? I know yours was eventful.
Hey, Kathy. Mine, I had a good weekend.
I got to hang out with my friend Heather. We've been friends since we were 8 years old in Los Angeles, bestest buddies. And she's the reason why I moved to Colorado.
Hey, Michelle.
And so I got to visit her on Saturday. I went to some estate sales in the morning and I went to her house. So I had a full Saturday. And then yesterday I was working on my history highlight, and then I hung out with you and opened up your mystery box with you.
That was so much fun.
That was fun.
Like I've always liked mystery boxes. So, this was like, you kind of know what's in it. You knew it was linens, but I didn't know what. And so
that's what's so exciting is, especially if you love linens and you like details where there's going to be awesome patterns and details.
My very first auction ever, I bought a Christmas lot, and I am not necessarily, hey Nancy, a Christmas person. Like, I don't get all excited about vintage Christmas like most people do. Yeah, I went axe throwing for those who don't have access to my personal Instagram. My arm is a little better. Yeah, I was a little worse for the wear this morning. Moving about was difficult. So I worked from home today because that way I didn't have to work vertical. I could lay down. I could lay down and work.
Have you been taking inflammation medicine for your arm?
I can't.
Okay.
So
Susan's here. Amy's here. Oh, this is so awesome. All our friends are coming in tonight. I'm so excited you are here. This makes Monday so much better.
Yes, it improves Monday. But it was a pretty good Monday. I can't really talk about why I'm happy yet. But this time next week, I might have big news.
Yes, you have life-changing type of situations where, things are in the mix in your life.
Tell me about it. It's a lot. But you know what I said? So y'all were there for our birthday celebration. I'm 37. It's the prime of my life. And I decided to make that happen. So we're making it happen. And 2023 is a prime number too. Mm-hmm.
Yes, taking control of your destiny and
manifesting.
Yes, manifesting
with a crystal wine goblet. Susan, that is to be seen. We're not going to talk about that on YouTube.
We weren't talking about that.
It's something completely different. But there are things happening in that realm as well. Hey, Turns Treasures.
Hi. Okay. I am so excited. Let's start doing our slides.
Okay. Well, you have to add them.
Oh, yes. I shall add.
I'm first.
The first slides. We got a lot.
Angels. Oh, I don't know about White Angel. Oh, for my back?
Oh, for your shoulder?
Oh, yeah. Most of those things just don't work on me, at all.
Christy!
I probably could have strapped my E-stem to it, but it'll work itself out. I just need to go axe throwing more often, and then, I'll gain muscle, and it will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So buttons, and, I have some very specific memories about buttons. And so I was a little bit at a loss about what to do my collection on. And then I happened upon this picture, which I love how they're separated, you know, in rainbow colors. And I just think playing with buttons in general is just fun. So
It is.
to me, like when I was a kid, it was a lot like, you know, playing with coins. You know, it was like counting money, you know?
Yes.
So it was a very tactile, fun thing to do.
Yes.
And I really like the picture on the left because it has other sewing notions mixed in as well, but all separated out. I do love the wooden spools. And then here we've got some pretty porcelain displaying the different colors of buttons. But I would be remiss if I didn't say what started my love of buttons. And that was the Danish cookie tin, you know, at my grandma's house. It was full of buttons that were her mom's. And they would, you know, sit us down and have us string the buttons. I'm pretty sure this was just a trick to keep us occupied, because eventually they would just take them off the string and put them back in the tin. But, you know, just that putting your fingers in it and just like digging and I've done a number of crafts with buttons since then. I have lots of buttons up in the craft room. And, so I want to do something like there's pictures like I want to make with buttons. There's all kinds of things. I used to make, I had some really cool shank buttons that I turned into rings as well. So, you know.
You should put that video on your crafting channel, because I would love to know how to make a shank button into a ring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody's talking about their grandma's tins.
Buttons,
I have yet to encounter one of those tins that actually contain cookies. So is it a conspiracy? I'm not certain. But we also had crayons were kept in a tin, but it wasn't a Danish cookie tin. It was a Courier Knives tin. The blue one with the white snow scene and the horse-drawn carriage. That one always had crayons in it. And I'm pretty sure I picked one up just so I could put drawing utensils in it so that I can continue to trick, you know, the kids I run into.
Last year, I went, I didn't film, but I went to an estate sale where this woman had a lot of Victorian inspired things. And she was definitely a creator. She had a lot of costuming type things. She was definitely part of something where she did events where you would dress up and do tea parties and things like that. But I got a cigar box full, so heavy, of mother of pearl buttons. And I transferred them into like a little wooden box. But the feel of the mother of pearl buttons is very specific. And it really is like
butter,
like taking smooth, rounded shells. It's marvelous. I highly recommend starting a collection just for the tactile satisfaction of putting your fingers in and sinking them into the shell buttons. So satisfying. Oh.
Yeah, Round Top. That's in Texas, right?
Yes.
You know, we might have to have B&B road trips. I'm just saying.
I'm going with Christy and Katie this October.
What? When? I'll need dates.
Round Top. I'm going for Round Top. Yeah. They're so nice. They said that they invited me to be in their room. So we're doing it.
You have room for a fourth? No, I can't leave Malcolm. But, well, if I could fob him off on family, possibly. Okay. Next is your collections.
I chose trophies just because they're such a wonderful collection to aspire to. I don't think there is not one of us who doesn't love looking at pictures.
Susan says fifth. Susan's calling next. She wants to go with you all.
What was I saying? Oh, just there's the photos of trophies, especially if you see them like in an English cottage, English manor. They're just like such a quintessentially like library study type of accessory where you want to kind of achieve that particular aesthetic. I don't think I ever will, but I sure do love looking at pictures of them. And I have my one trophy, so I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
I do keep an eye out. I don't really find them around here, though. Like, I find, cheesy 90s, 80s trophies.
Right.
I don't find cool silver plate trophies.
I know it. It's hard. I found mine at an antique store where I'm sure, probably because it was at Watson and Company, I'm sure they probably sourced it at Round Top. So what am I going to look for when I go to Round Top? Trophies. And then did you put okay, I've added 2 more pictures. Look at this. I think it's a plant stand.
Oh, that's perfect.
It's perfect. So magnificent.
Oh, and it's got, your pennants in there too.
It's got pennants. Yes, very collegiate, like what I think of like an Oxford collegiate, 1930s, 20s, 30s, 40s. I just picture
more of
a very
like a rugby room versus
like a wood paneled pub or study,
Oh,
so awesome.
I don't know what town it's in, Susan.
Round Top. Okay, because I looked at the map. Round Top, there is an actual city of Round Top, but Round Top, the event, is along a stretch of highway. I don't remember the highway number that it is, but there's all these cities around the city of Round Top, and it's just along that whole road, kind of like the way Brimfield is. Brimfield is another really big.
Brimfield.
Would be a huge goal. Is Brimfield, just another large event to.
So the town is actually called Round Top.
Correct. Yes, there is a town of Round Top. I'm right, Christy? What did she say? It's in Round Top. Yeah,
it's in Round Top.
See?
It looks like 237 is the route that runs through there.
Yes. See, I've never been, but I've seen plenty of YouTube videos of people who have gone. Yes. So I have a small understanding of all of it, but I have never gone myself. This will be my first time. Close to where they make Bluebell ice cream.
I mean, sounds like something you have to stop at and have ice cream. Oh, wait, yes. Okay, so Inspiring Interiors. So this is the home of Lily Allen and Dave Harbour. So they were featured on Architectural Digest. Lily Allen is a British pop singer.
The tufting.
David Harbour is on Stranger Things, and he's been on lots of other stuff. So I didn't know who he was because he mainly does like horror, and I don't watch that.
I've seen his New York apartment on Architectural Digest. I saw that tour, but I haven't seen this.
So I don't know if they're married. They might be married or just together. I can't remember. But it really brings back. So like if you remember when I did the Greenbrier, like the way this is decorated just looks
very
like
much
Manhattan version of the Greenbrier. So a Manhattan apartment has taken the Greenbrier and condensed it down, and I love it. So here they are, and I love the way that this bed is like, it's not just recessed, it's like in its whole little own space within the bedroom. So we've got the mixed interiors, and I love the green ceiling in the living room. And there are crystal chandeliers everywhere in their apartment. For
Wow.
example,
Oh,
bathroom. Look at this bathroom. Like, this is the one that screamed Greenbrier to me. I was like, oh, look at all the pattern mixing.
look at her gown.
Yes.
Look at her negligee robe.
I mean,
Whatever
I
she's
used to
wearing.
listen to her. I think I was in college when I was obsessed with her CD, but her song Smile, like, it was fun. And I loved it. I see you smile. Anyway, continuing. But the kitchen is very subdued, very French country.
Mm-hmm.
Still has a crystal chandelier, however. And look at that rosette on the ceiling. And the subtle,
it's
the
so
open
much.
shelves with the copper.
It's almost, I mean, I'm wondering what building this is that had such,
I mean,
elaborate medallion rosette like that. I mean,
I don't know if it was part of the existing space or something they added.
They added, maybe.
I did not read the article. I just looked at the pictures.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
But speaking of awesome ceilings,
yes, for my inspiring interiors, I picked this photo, and I loved it. I loved the birds, and what's funny is this is actually on Etsy because it's an advertisement for stencils to put these birds on whatever you want. In this case, a ceiling. Yeah, I know.
In my living room, wouldn't it?
I know. But I specifically, when I was looking at like ceiling murals and like this is the picture I liked the most. And it was obviously one that someone created and then put their stencil on it. And I really like it. It's like magical, but maybe with like just a pinch of like dark mystery. I thought it was really appealing.
Because if that was a group of crows, it'd be a murder.
It could be a murder.
That fireplace.
I know. So obviously this fireplace, I couldn't find out where it was from, but this is obviously in like, remember when you did
the Nouveau, probably somewhere either in France or.
Yes, exactly. Bohemia. One of those buildings that you probably showed in your presentation on Art Nouveau. This is probably a fireplace in one of those buildings.
It's quite possible.
I mean, how completely Lord of the Rings does this look?
Look at the mosaic on the floor. Like there's that marble, and then that's mosaic, that design around.
I know. Just incredibly detailed. I mean, the kind of work
it's all about the craftsmanship. So
yes, you just don't find anymore. It's just so striking, and in this case, extra dramatic, just because of the forms.
When we get to Media Bus, remind me to say something.
Okay. And Twist, you can totally hold on. You can totally do that feeling, because I mean, even if you felt like you couldn't paint your own sky, but I believe anybody can probably paint a sky. So I think you could paint your sky and then just get the stencils. You could totally create this on.
They also make large scale peel and stick wallpaper, probably similar to this, that you can just stick on your ceiling.
You could, but think about how much more richer it would be if you actually painted it yourself. I mean, when you actually have the textural paint. But here's what I was thinking. A lot of us don't have huge foyers. I have a teeny weeny foyer. I wish
I had a foyer.
I could make like a little circle or something, and it wouldn't be, I mean, it might be 4 feet at most, probably more like 3.5 feet diameter circle.
No, I really do want to do something to my ceiling here in the living room.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what. Yeah. I think it's very attainable. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily do it huge, like a huge spot, if you were testing it out, but like something smaller,
Yeah.
I think we could do it. I might do it. Maybe I'll do it.
You wanna come, at your house, or you want to come do it at my house?
No, in my foyer. In my foyer. Your living room is quite big, and I would not tackle that straight away. No.
Sizable. But I do live in a college town. There's lots of artists.
Now you could get Catherine Young to tackle it. I don't know if you saw the mural she did in her bedroom wall.
I did. That was amazing.
Her botanicals.
Her maximalist wall, amazing.
Perfect. Just lovely. I loved the whole painting. So, I mean, she's not afraid to do a large.
I just need to become friends with Rachel Maxey and,
as well. Yes.
Be free content for her channel.
Yeah. So. Agreed. Okay. Let's go back to.
Speaking of media must. So it's funny because this gentleman is the reason why I know CosTube exists, even though he wasn't on Costume or YouTube, because I stumbled across a BBC interview with him when he was, I don't know, 25. I mean, it was some time ago. But he is a bespoke tailor, and he only dresses in period clothing.
Is he the one that was on with Stephanie?
Yes.
On Chateau
Diaries. I discovered him way before I ever discovered Stephanie. So when they came together, it was like, two of my nerdy things coming together.
Yes, I remember him.
But if you want to learn about like men's fashion within the Regency period or before even, he's a fantastic person to follow on Instagram. He does have a YouTube, but here is the article that references that BBC thing, because when he was 14 is when he decided, nope, I don't like modern clothing. I need it to go away. So he now dresses. Catherine, I knew Catherine had to know.
We were just talking about you, Catherine.
So, him and his partner.
Oh wait, there she is.
You think you love it? Well, he got lots of marriage proposals after his, BBC interview. He does have a YouTube channel. There's not a ton of videos on it. I mean, he just makes one when he has something very specific he wants to do. Like December was the last time he put out a video, and it's about making a Scrooge nightshirt, very apropos. Yes. He also does he does live videos quite often on Instagram, like while he's cutting patterns or doing some tailoring. And he also does breakdowns of extant clothing from the period, like showing you how things were constructed, which as someone who can't sew, I find fascinating. So if you would like to follow him on Instagram, he is Pinsent_tailoring. And on YouTube, it's Pinsent Tailoring, but no underscore.
I think I subscribed to him when I saw him on Stephanie's channel, but he doesn't really publish a lot.
And if you follow him on Instagram, he also ends up going to lots of really interesting places, like castles,
yes,
museums, just very, very fun places. So I recommend that you give him a follow. And that's my before I forget, my media must, was it last week or the week before, when I did Rajiv Surendra's YouTube channel? He just posted himself recaning a chair. Like, he did the whole process.
Really?
Yeah. And he was just talking you through it. So I recommend watching it, because now I want to find a chair that has been abandoned and the cane all ripped out, and just, take 6 months and recane it.
Well, where does he source? Does he talk about where he sources the cane?
He tells you where he gets the cane. He tells you, how to measure it. And he doesn't do it like in depth, step by step, but he does tell you where he learned, both a YouTube tutorial and a book. So he's sharing the knowledge. So next is yours.
Well,
and I definitely follow these people too.
Yes, tonight's media must for me is actually brought to us by one of our chatters. She might not be here today, but Miss Joyce, she emailed me and was recommending a YouTube channel called Absolute History. And I guess it's in partnership with History Hit, which I'm not even sure what it is because unfortunately, I have not had time to watch anything on Absolute History. So this is completely just coming from one of our groups.
I've watched some of them.
You have?
Yeah.
I grabbed two of the ones that I would probably watch first is the Jane Austen or the Beatrix Potter episodes. So, but there was great variety. Lots of different subject matter in their list of videos to peruse should you be interested in a little historic entertainment and education. Mm-hmm. So this is recommended by Joyce. Oh, really? Leanne just watched the Beatrix Potter one. Did you like it, Leanne? How was it?
Joyce is a fantastic person. Twist.
Yes. Yes. Cheers to Joyce.
Joyce has been a part of my YouTube life ever since my very first ever vintage live sale.
Oh.
She bought Frog Goldblum from me.
Frog Goldblum?
Yeah. He's like a sponge holder, but he's posed like Jeff Goldblum, in that from Jurassic Park. And so I've called him Frog Goldblum. And I was using him. I was going to keep him. And I found another one that I was going to sell, but it had a crack in it. So the cracked one became mine because I don't care about a crack. And then the Frog Goldblum went home to Joyce.
Awesome.
I really love Joyce. She's not here to see it. Maybe she'll catch it on the replay.
She'll catch it. Yeah.
She's got a lot going on.
She does.
So I went, this is not Valentine's Day. This is Galentine's Day, which, by the way, happy Galentine's Day to everyone in the chat. Cheers.
Happy Galentine's Day.
Cheers.
Happy Galentine's.
Lovely cut to clear crystal. Ooh. And I found this.
Hey, Mary.
First of all, Mary, how did your day go? Mary had her first day of work today.
Really?
So I loved these little tea carts. These little tea carts are what stuck out to me. And then the little vintage cross stitch underneath. I really want to know what kind of dessert is in these mugs, these coffee cups.
Oh.
Because it looks delightful.
So are those maybe little espresso cups, or do you think those are children's? Those look ridiculously small.
They do look small, but they could be demi-tasse cups. But and then everything on the table was like milk glass, hearts, and roses, and it's super like make your teeth hurt, so sweet, but I don't care. Have your ladies over.
Ooh.
Have a heart-shaped pie and a heart-shaped cake.
Look at that pie.
Why not? And then, we all have leftover candy canes from Christmas. Just hot glue them together and you got hearts.
Did they do that? Oh, over there. Yeah. I see it now. Okay.
Underneath the little envelopes.
I see it.
And then I love the napkins. I still want to do like a napkin folding tutorial at some point in time. I want to find a few that I really like and just do it live or something. Mm-hmm. So that's my titillating tablescape.
I love it.
Just spread the love with your gals.
That
or whomever you want to share it with.
Yes. Leanne says it's Love Yourself Day.
I really wanted pie after I made this slide. And I have none. Travesty. Hey, Blackberry Thistle. And we're on.
Okay. All right.
Do you need a breather? Are you Empty nesting.
Okay. So I chose to showcase another artist because I happen to enjoy looking at art. So it is something that I will probably lean on whenever I don't have time to do deeper types of history highlights. I'll just be like, who do I want to showcase in art? So,
right. I just pick a random thing I love. That's what I do.
well, I was going to do Wedgwood Jasperware, and I actually started, but I didn't have the brain capacity to really try to.
There's a lot there.
Grab it. So
Wedgwood and everything.
Yeah, I just pivoted and went, we're doing this. Kind of as a jumping off point from William Morris, because John William Waterhouse, his style is kind of associated with the pre-Raphaelites. And if you remember from the William Morris presentation, the pre-Raphaelites, one of the main painters that was a part of that group was Dante Gabriel Rossetti, and that's the one that Burne-Jones and William Morris really loved his art. Just as a refresher, he's the one that they went to go hang out with when they left school. And Burne-Jones, William Morris tried to paint, wasn't good at it, and Burne-Jones kept with the painting. Along with Rossetti. And Rossetti is the one who had the affair with Jane Morris. Okay. So Rossetti was a pre-Raphaelite. Waterhouse came a little bit after. So he was kind of in the time of the Impressionists, but a lot of his work is more reminiscent of the artwork of the pre-Raphaelites. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
And so he made one of my favorite images, and I didn't even realize it was a Waterhouse. So
yes,
we'll talk about that.
Are you looking? You're already looking ahead.
No, I don't know if you showcase this image, but my quote is an homage to it. So we shall.
Perfect, awesome. So there isn't a lot of history on John Waterhouse. So this page is all we're really doing on as far as like about him and his history. And then we're going to look at his paintings. And because a lot of his paintings have to do with like the Arthurian legends and mythology, we're going to do kind of a little bit of art history and a little bit of English class. So buckle up, buttercups.
Just put your glasses on.
So John William Waterhouse, born in 1849, was born in Rome to English parents who were both painters. He was referred to as Nino throughout his life. In the 1850s, his family returned to England, and John assisted his father in the studio until entering the Royal Academy schools in London in 1870. After his marriage in 1883 to Esther Kenworthy, Waterhouse took up residence at the Primrose Hill Studios. And I did pop that in there because the Primrose Hill Studios, apparently there was another artist who lived there a little bit later after him. And again, it's the 6 degrees of Brocante and Bergamot, but Arthur Rackham also lived at Primrose Hill Studios. So, let's see. He is associated with the Pre-Raphaelites, like I mentioned, based on a shared interest in medieval subject matter and Romanticism. He also exhibits some stylistic influence from the Impressionists, who were his contemporaries at the time, because they're saying that some of his paintings have slightly more brushy or sketchy style to it. Not all of it, because I was looking and I really was trying to find, well, where is the influence of the Impressionists on his work? And you have to kind of look for it, but you can see it in some of his paintings, but not, I wouldn't say a ton of
I would say it's usually like in the
background
surroundings, not Not the main
exactly.
image. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Oh, Waterhouse's paintings were distinct for their rich glowing color. Like the Pre-Raphaelites, he depicted many dramatic, beautiful women from Arthurian legend, classical mythology, and romantic literature, specifically Lord Tennyson, John Keats, and William Shakespeare. So that is our little history on Waterhouse and his style. And so, oh, really quick, I did, before going into the paintings that he would submit to the Royal Gallery schools, that he does have like regular portraits that he did, and they didn't talk about it, but I'm assuming that, like any other artist, once he became pretty popular, of course he would get commissions to do portraits for affluent families. So he did do portraits. Yes, artists have to eat. So even though like we don't necessarily think of him as a portrait artist, he did do them. So I just threw in some of his portraits. The one on the upper right, the lady in white with the red buckle, is his wife. Just as a little tidbit of information.
Looks like she's wearing a lingerie dress.
Okay, so now we're going to look at a lot of awesome paintings. And I not on everything, but on a lot of them, I'm going to be doing a lot of reading to you guys. This is the English part. And for the most part, I'm kind of going from earlier to later. Some areas I kind of flip-flop just because of subject matter. But so we've got La Filius. So 1874. This was earlier. But I thought this would be fun because Filius, I don't know how, it's French, but it's French for the spinner. And so who this is Arachne. So just so you understand, this is the goddess Athena and the mortal Arachne. In mythology, they enter a contest as to who will weave the finest web. And they choose a muse to judge which one is best. And the muse chooses Arachne as the best spinner.
Turns her into a spider.
Athena is not that happy, throws her into hell. The muse saves her. Athena finds her again, and this time sends Arachne to the kingdom of Poseidon beneath the sea. The muse saves her once again and tries to convince Athena to forgive her, but Arachne is killed. The only thing the muse can do to help Arachne is to turn her into a spider who will spin the finest web possible. So that's Arachne. And then on the right,
these Greek and Roman gods and goddesses, they needed therapy.
Yeah.
They had anger issues and fidelity issues, many other issues.
Yeah.
If therapy was a thing in ancient Greece and ancient Rome, it would have been a lot less wars,
Yes. Now, so I know, yes, I did try to do a various grouping of his work. So I didn't just pick all of kind of the medieval King Arthur looking ones. This one, Mirhamne, she is actually from history. She is a Jewish princess whose marriage to King Herod the Great helped legitimize his position. And unfortunately, Herod was paranoid of subterfuge and murder plots against him, had her tried for crimes against the crown, and put her to death. So what I loved about
like to kill people.
Yes, what I loved about this painting is it showed he did do a lot of interiors. He didn't just do like outdoor. The interior on this, I really thought was incredible. Just to paint marble that looks like marble. amazing. So, and then this one is really interesting.
This also needed therapy. See?
This one is titled Consulting the Oracle, and this was in 1884. And this was one of his submissions to the Royal Academy that really kind of put him on the map in the 1880s. And this one was purchased by Sir Henry Tate. So this is part of the Tate collection in the Tate Museum. Is this
a reference to the Oracle at Delphi?
This is Consulting the Oracle. Miracles, magic, and the power of prophecy are common themes in Waterhouse's art. In this picture, he shows a group of 7 young girls sitting in a semicircle around a lamplit shrine, waiting in excitement while the priestess interprets the world of the oracle. Okay, so and now this is this little section was written by Waterhouse when he put it up in the Royal Academy in 1884. He put the oracle is also called a teraph or a teraphim, and the teraphim was a human head that was cured with spices, so kind of like a shrunken head, fixed against the wall with lamps lit around it. And there'd be like certain rites performed, and the diviners, like this oracle, they would lean in and believe that they could hear voices from the teraphim, and it would tell them future events. So this is
I'm trying to see the head.
It's really hard. It's really hard. I actually did brighten it up a little bit, but I didn't want to make it look not
like the original.
Not right. Yeah. But this really
the fabrics in this one really get me.
It's just one of the ones that really where he was really starting to get noticed.
This is the one.
This one as well. This one was another one that got really, really well received when he put it up. And Tate also bought this painting. And this is the Lady of Shalat. And this is the tragic poem by Alfred Tennyson.
Lord Tennyson.
So this is from literature. And what's interesting is that Tennyson was inspired by Donna di Scalata, a 13th century Italian poet who Scalata's poem tells the tragic story of Elaine of Astolat, a young noblewoman stranded in a tower up the river from Camelot. So Tennyson is writing from a 13th century Italian story. And just I'm going to read this to you guys. I hope you guys find this interesting because I do. So the beginning stanzas of the poem describe her life.
Side the river lie, long fields of barley and of rye that clothe the walls and meet the sky, and through the field a road runs by through many towered Camelot.
Can I explain it to them, please?
Sorry.
You need to contain yourself. Okay. So just see, okay. So basically, the Lady of Shalat, she suffers from a mysterious curse where she must continually weave images on her loom without ever looking directly out at the world. Instead, she has to look into a mirror which reflects the busy road and the people of Camelot who pass by her tower. She knows not what her curse is. She just knows that she's been cursed and has to stay there and not look out the window. Okay, so, and then it goes into where Sir Lancelot rides by, and she sees him through the mirror.
And
she's so taken with him. Like she sees him in the mirror and she's just like, oh. So she gets up and goes out to the window and initiates the curse.
Mm-hmm.
The remaining stanzas, yeah, oh, so sad. And then, I didn't write any more.
Saving
I
her
didn't write any
from
more of it.
death.
But basically what happens is she ends up in the boat, and she dies before she can meet Lancelot. But Lancelot does see
He
her
says she
in
has a pretty face.
a pretty face.
Mhm.
Yes. But what's really cool is if you don't know that story, then you wouldn't have an appreciation for the fact
Mhm.
that look
Her
at the
tapestry is
look
there.
at the
Yeah.
tapestry that she's sitting on. You can see that there are scenes of what she had been seeing through the mirror when she was locked in the tower.
Yeah.
Isn't that neat? I think it's neat.
So I wish we could play music, on YouTube, because the reason why I'm so familiar with this poem is one of my favorite artists put it to music, and that's
Okay.
Lorena McKennitt. And
Uh-huh.
so I would listen to it, like both this epic poem and the epic poem known as The Highwayman.
Mhm.
I had memorized, and I would just sing them. I was like, if I'm ever kidnapped and need to sing for my supper, these are the songs I would sing. Whatever.
Angela.
So yeah, I would recommend looking it up on YouTube to listen to it. If you don't want to read the epic poem of the Lady of Shalat, you can listen to it. And it's heart-wrenching. But the funniest thing is I love that song, had it memorized, and our local McDonald's renovated into a Lady of Shalat theme. And it had this picture and a few others posted in it. And then the words of the poem on the wallpaper border all around the McDonald's. Yeah. But anyway.
That's a cool
Funny
McDonald's.
aside. I'm really glad that you showed this picture, because this is one of my favorites. I tried to buy a tapestry of it one time,
Mhm.
and it was beyond my reach.
Yeah.
Or it would be hanging here in the bower somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a page where these paintings are, a little bit farther apart, but I put them together because they are both two different part of the stories of the mythology of Circe. The first one, Circe offering the cup to Ulysses.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know if you can see, I actually cut off a lot of this image. It's actually a lot longer, and you can see, but the reason I cut it off is because I was trying to get it so that you could see Ulysses is actually painted in the mirror. So you can kind of see him, and he's got his hand on his hilt, because I'll just try to be quick on this one, but
is Circe the one who had the island where she turned men into animals?
Yes. Circe was the one who's good with potions. She was basically like the witch in Greek mythology. But yeah, she was a goddess who I think she got sent to the island by one of the gods, where she kind of had to stay there.
Because they didn't have
yeah, but basically in the story of the Odyssey, Odysseus and his crew end up on the island in their voyage.
And time passes differently there, if I remember correctly.
Probably.
Yeah.
But basically, Circe feeds the men, but gives them wine and with a potion and turns them into pigs. So I might have zoomed in too much, but there is a pig on the floor in this painting. But basically, Hermes, who is just a big pain in the butt, ends up intervening and tells Odysseus how to, make sure that she doesn't turn him into an animal or a pig. And basically, he says he must draw his sword to act as if he was going to attack her. He says, and as Hermes foretells, Circe would ask Odysseus to bed, but he advises caution. Basically, he doesn't really listen. She doesn't take action against him, and he ends up staying on the island and lives with her for a year, and they have 2 sons. So it's like Hermes trying to cause extra issues for poor Circe, but The other one of Circe, Individiosa, this particular painting, very, very dark and brooding.
She's angry.
This
Someone
is
stole her pigs.
This is this is showing a different story on Circe, where this is, I think, before she gets on the island.
Oh.
Circe falls in love with the sea god Glaucus, but Glaucus prefers another nymph named Scylla to her. So, in revenge,
as in Scylla and Charybdis?
Circe poisoned the water where her rival bathed, and because she bathed in the water, it turns Scylla into a sea monster with 6 heads. So yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't realize that Scylla used to be a nymph.
Scylla was a nymph. But Circe was a jealous little witch lady.
I mean, the green of the potion makes sense.
Right. Exactly. And this one is not really a story, because this is just a painting about another witch. They did say that Waterhouse liked the occult as well, or was interested in magic and that sort of thing. So this is not of a particular story. This is just of a obvious woman having some sort of ritual, making a circle around her cauldron there. And what's you might not have seen, I had to zoom in on it, but she actually has a serpent, or what do they call it? An Ouroboros, which is either Ouroboros, a serpent, or a dragon.
I added an S, Ouroboros.
It applies to either a serpent or a dragon eating its own tail.
Mm-hmm.
So like the circle of life. So I just thought that one was fun, because you don't think of that kind of a painting necessarily when you think of Waterhouse. So I thought I'd throw that in there. Well, and then this is, yes.
No, go ahead.
Oh, this was just beautiful portrait of Juliet. We all know Juliet's story. This was the one where I saw a lot of more of an impressionist approach in the brick.
The background of that witch one is where I was seeing it there.
Yeah, I could see it really well in that one. So I included that. And then Pandora. This one I want to read to you guys. I know it's going late already, but I'm going to read this one to you guys, just because I know we know a lot of Pandora's box, but I want to tell you something that's interesting that you might not know. So, okay. So Hesiod. Oh, this is just the mythology. Hesiod's mythology. Hold on. I'm trying to make this quick. Okay. So she's married to someone, and it just says this container is left in the care of her husband, and her curiosity gets the best of her, something she wasn't supposed to open. And so when she opens it, she releases physical and emotional curses upon mankind. But what I thought was interesting was that the container mentioned in the original account in Greek was actually a storage jar, but the word pithoi was later mistranslated as a box. And pithoi were large clay jars used for storage of wine, oil, grain, or provisions, ritually as a vessel for burying a human body as well.
So it's Pandora's jar, her box.
Yes, it's Pandora's jar. And many scholars see a close analogy between Pandora herself, who was made from clay, and the clay jar which dispenses evil onto the world. See?
That's a nod to Eve there.
Yeah. And I loved this painting.
Well, one thing I wanted to add really quick. Do you remember Nicole Rudolph, who I shared for one of my media musts? She makes the shoes.
Yes.
She just had a really interesting video about why the Victorians are showing fairy tales, Arthurian legends, and like Greek people in like medieval garb, because obviously that's not era appropriate. So I'm going to share the video because it was very interesting and it applies to these paintings.
Perfect.
Mhm.
I'm very interested.
Yeah.
All right. And then this one, I was really trying to pick like really
I love
awesome paintings, and just the composition of this one. I mean, so impressive. His work, I mean, the more I kept looking at the body of his work, he was an impressive painter. And I think that's why there's not a lot of interesting stuff about his life. I think he just literally painted his entire life. I think he was in his studio. That's why he didn't do that much. He was just painting until he died. My thing is covering it, but can you see, like, I zoomed in on a close-up on the faces?
Yeah, of the sirens. Yeah.
So cool. I just thought this is an awesome one. And this is the story of where Odysseus or Ulysses, a lot of the titles of his paintings are of the Roman versions of the god because he was born in Italy and he favored Italy. So if you don't,
these ladies look like banshees, you know?
Yeah. But in this story, so Ulysses knows he's going to come across the sirens. He knows of their deadly nature. So he instructs his men to plug their ears with beeswax and to tie him to the ship's mast. He then orders them to, under no circumstances, follow his command. And while passing the sirens on the rocky islands, he becomes enchanted by the deadly sea creatures singing. He commands, begs, cries that his men untie him, but with their ears full of wax, his crew members see the sirens for exactly what they are, and with a clear view of their original orders, they ignore his desperate cries and they row the boat to safety. So they make it through.
Mm-hmm.
I love the one of the siren, like bending down, looking at one of the crew members.
Like right in the face. Yeah.
Right in the face. I mean, that's pretty intimidating. Pretty cool.
Oh, this is the one you mentioned before.
Yes, I had put the mermaid in there.
And then I ruined everybody's night with the real Little Mermaid. Sorry. I won't do it again.
Yeah, I don't really have any information on these, but I did look up the hamadryad, and the hamadryad is basically a tree nymph where the nymph and the tree are bonded. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we all know, what a mermaid and a siren is, but just beautiful, beautiful paintings. These stunning. I love them. Now, this is a good page. This is a good page. Did I have this down?
Where's the same woman?
What? I don't know. I mean, no, they're not supposed to be all the same woman.
But I wonder if it was the same model or muse. Yeah,
could be. I mean, I think a lot of the models, during certain times were used over and over again for sure. A lot of his paintings, I look at and I'm like, oh, that looks like that gal for sure. What I thought was really interesting about the crystal ball, in the notes, it's saying how in this particular one, influences of the Italian Renaissance, just in the painting, because it doesn't have a Gothic window. It has an arched window, and that's much more indicative of the Italian Renaissance than the medieval Gothic architecture. But what was really interesting about it is this was bought by a private owner. It was in a private collection. And when you look at it online, you're going to find two versions of this painting. One's with the skull and one's without the skull. Because the previous owner of this painting had the skull covered up. They had it painted over. Probably because maybe it was probably like a real Christian household and the lady of the house probably didn't like this. Who knows why?
She had the vapors.
Right. Who knows why? But the new owner had the skull uncovered.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really interesting is I actually looked, and if you were to buy the crystal ball from different venues online, Some of them are going to sell you the version with the skull, and some of them have the version without the skull. So you would have to know that the one without the skull is actually not the original that Waterhouse intended. This is the original that Waterhouse painted with the skull. And up at the top, Destiny, that was a painting that Waterhouse painted in 1900. It was a picture that was given to the Artists' War Fund in support of British casualties of the Boer War. The girls drinking a toast to the departing warriors whose ships can be seen in a mirror in the background. The Boer Wars was a name given to the South African Wars of 1880 to 1881 and 1899 to 1902 that were fought between the British and the descendants of the Dutch settlers in Africa, known as the Boers. So this was a donated painting for a war effort at the time. And then Ariadne.
Destiny's window is very nouveau, like the columns to the loop.
I also thought it was interesting, like the red dress, all the red in this that was going on in the clothing on these. Ariadne.
Oh no.
Ariadne, I'm not sure why she's just lazing around, but Ariadne is just, she's known for helping Theseus escape the Minotaur.
Ariadne had a web too, didn't she?
All it was mentioned about her was that Dionysus saw Ariadne sleeping, fell in love with her, and later married her. Versions of the myth recount Dionysus throwing Ariadne's jeweled crown into the sky to create a constellation, the Corona Borealis. So I guess just she was like a beautiful lady who's known for sleeping and being beautiful. Let's see. Echo and Narcissus. Oh, I probably should have warned that if you have children in the house and you're not comfortable with them being around the female form in paintings, we're going to have a little of that. So probably should have done a little disclaimer there at the beginning. What else do I got? What else do I got in here? Do you guys know Echo and Narcissus? This is sad. This is a sad, sad story, you guys. It's so sad. This one's long. I mean, I know it's already 6 o'clock. Should I skip the story? But I have it. I have it if you guys really want to know. Basically,
they were in love and then they were cursed, right?
Echo is cursed where she can't. She can only say the last sentence of what you say, like an echo. And Narcissus gets lost in the woods. She sees him. She falls in love with him, but can't say anything but his last words. And for some reason, he gets cursed where he can only fall in love with himself. So he basically dies looking at himself into the reflection, and all she can do is say his last words, and she basically wastes away with him as well. And even though she's immortal, her body fades and her bones turn to stone, and all that remains of Echo is the sound of her voice. Sad, sad, sad.
And that's where we get the word narcissist.
Correct. And I thought this was interesting because I think a lot of us might look at this and think, oh, this, if you look at this painting, you think it's another painting of Pandora. But this is not Pandora. This is Psyche. Psyche. I can't find my Psyche. It's in here somewhere. But I do remember it's basically she falls in love with Cupid, and Cupid's mom is a goddess who gives her all these like things to pass, like challenges that she needs to pass. Why can't I find Psyche?
To prove herself.
Right. And one of the things is she's not supposed to open the box I don't remember what happens because I think she peeks into the box. I don't remember what happens to her. But somehow I think she ends up okay because I think Psyche and Cupid end up together. And then the next one is Psyche opens a door into Cupid's garden. This is another thing where, gosh, I wish I could find it because I don't remember. There was so much. I don't remember everything. But basically, Cupid is not allowed. Oh, here it is. Right here. So Cupid was sent by his jealous mother, the goddess Venus. Venus, the one who was giving her all the challenges.
Yeah, and in Greek it would be Eros.
To punish Psyche for her beauty. Instead, Cupid fell in love with Psyche, but would only meet her after dark, so she couldn't identify him. And it says here in this is where Psyche is trying to catch a glimpse of her secret lover in daylight. So that's what she's doing. She only saw her love at night, and she didn't know what he looked like.
Mm-hmm.
So this is her trying to sneak in to get a peek.
Yeah.
I love knowing the backgrounds of things because then it makes so much more sense, you know. The Dryads. This is another kind of just like sad situation where all these daughters end up cursed. It says they were to marry 50 sons of their father's twin brother, but they killed the husbands on their wedding night. And some accounts say that their punishment for this was they were forced to carry a jugs to fill a bathtub without a bottom to wash their sins off. And they're saying that this myth is probably connected with having to do with worshiping of water because Danaids were water nymphs. So there's a lot of different mythology going around these ones. But what I couldn't find out is why he painted two so similar to each other, because these are entirely finished paintings. But it's like the same situation. It's just he did two paintings. Yeah. But I just the vessel, you know, the leaking vessel that they can never fill up is so cool. I was like, look at that. And you know what I thought was when I was looking at his paintings? He really draws feet well. Yeah.
He wasn't an AI.
I really admire someone who can draw feet and paint feet.
Ophelia. Oh, man.
Just,
Speaking of more sadness.
Oh, poor Ophelia. I know. Ophelia was from Shakespeare.
Hamlet, yeah.
Yeah. And I have a whole thing on Thisbe, but basically Thisbe, it's kind of like another Romeo Juliet situation where she falls in love with the boy next door and their families don't get along. But there's a crack in the wall. So basically they do meet each other, but they can't meet each other very often. So what they would do is they would try to talk to each other through the crack in the wall. So that's what she's doing in this painting. And I loved how he can paint the tile work. That amazes me. The painting right here, this amazes me. Just that it looks like it could have been a photograph. The tiles on the floor blows my mind. Much more so than the outdoor. I mean, I think the outdoor ones are beautiful, like the Ophelia one, but this Thisbe painting, and look, just her dress. The fact that he could paint a patterned dress like this
with folds.
It's amazing. I find it truly amazing. And then Ophelia someone kills her father. She goes crazy. She ends up drowning in a lake. She's a very sad character, but usually in portraits, she's always depicted with kind of like long hair and a lot of flowers around her.
Yeah, she drowns herself.
Yeah, because she wanders around really. She's basically brought to from grief. She kind of goes like really mad.
She was supposed to marry Hamlet, but
she was mad.
Then Hamlet killed his uncle and a bunch of other people, and There was lots rotten in the state of Denmark.
Do any have a happy ending? Well, I don't know if he did a lot of comedy. I mean, I think that's the thing is they loved their romance of the tragedies is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, here we go. The Soul of the Rose. This is
Atmospheric.
happy. The Soul of the Rose is happy. Where's my Soul of the Rose? Basically, this is another one based on a poem by Tennyson. I had it down here. I don't know why I'm such a mess, you guys. I'm so sorry. Oh, here it is. Soul of the Rose. So, Soul of the
I don't
Rose.
have this memorized, so don't worry about that.
Soul of the Rose is from a poem called Come Into the Garden, Maud by Alfred Lord Tennyson. And it's basically just a very romantic poem where the lover wants Maud to come into the garden after a ball to meet him so they can have a rendezvous. And it has a lot of, I have the whole poem here, but it's a lot.
Susan, I work at university. That's what I do. Know what you do for work, Heather.
Pardon?
Susan wants to know what you do for work.
I don't do anything, but I did go to. I do have an art degree.
So,
I did like art. I did like art history.
Go to the very last slide. I have to go run and grab something. Hold on one second.
Okay. I will just.
You can go ahead to the next one.
The charmer. Well, yeah, I'll just talk to them about the charmer here real quick. So the charmer is a portrait of Brizo, Brizo, an ancient Greek goddess who is known as the protector of mariners, sailors, and fishermen. She was worshipped primarily by the women of Delos in Greece, who set out food offerings in small boats. Not a lot is known about Brizo, but she is known as both the goddess of the ocean and a dream goddess within the Greek pantheon. It says that she was a prophetic goddess whose Greek name stems from the word Brizian, which means to fall asleep. Her prophecies were delivered through dreams after her worshippers fell asleep. Brizo's oracle would then interpret the dreams, and she was particularly attuned to prayers regarding ocean navigation and fishing. So that's who the charmer is supposed to be. And then this last page. These are much later in his life. He died in 1917 of cancer. And these two paintings both are from the Italian Boccaccio's Decameron. And the Decameron is a story that tells about a group of young people who, fleeing the plague in the 14th century, spend 10 days isolated in the country. And every day, a different member of the group was chosen to be king or queen and gained authority over the group for that day, alongside the responsibility for relating a tale to entertain them. So they would take turns kind of being the leader each day. So this is a story written by an Italian about a group of young kids who were fleeing the plague. They all get together for 10 days, isolated in the country. And the top one is basically depicting them doing just that, like telling tales and entertaining each other. And the one on the bottom, this is his last painting that didn't actually get finished. If you get a really close look, the woman in purple on her knees on the right, if you got really close up, her face isn't even completed. So he died before he could finish this painting. And this is depicting one of the stories that the young kids are telling each other. So in this book, The Decameron, not only are you kind of getting, these cast of characters that are telling each other stories, you get to hear the stories they're telling each other. And that's what The Enchanted Garden is one of those stories that they made up. But it did say that the the painting was displayed at the Academy that year, even though it was unfinished, kind of because he was so respected. They did actually display it, even though he wasn't able to finish it. Okay, I'm done. I'm done, guys. Is everyone still here?
I wanted to see. So Tennyson has a whole huge poem about Maud.
Well, I've got a lot. I got a lot of the poem. See?
Right. I mean, we're talking pages because I have a Tennyson book here.
Uh-huh.
It's in rough shape.
But I wouldn't have really known that The Soul of the Rose, because it's a different title. I wouldn't have known unless I had done this research. Right. So it's kind of interesting when you find out. It's like, oh, but it's beautiful. I mean, look at that. Her smelling the rose.
Now I'm going to have to read it. Well, if you'll go to my quote.
Okay, let's go to the quote.
So this rose is known as the Lady of Shalat rose. It is a rose you can purchase to grow. And so I chose one piece of the Lady of Shalat poem. I could probably recite the whole thing for you, but that would take us quite some time. But this is one of the lines that really just, stuck in my brain when I first read it as a kid. Mm-hmm. So, or when the moon was overhead, came two young lovers, lately wed. I'm half sick of shadows, said the Lady of Shalat.
Ooh.
You don't want me to sing it.
She's like, do it, sing it.
Lately wed. I'm half sick of shadows, she said. The Lady of Shalat. Yeah, I love it. It's so good. So you should listen to Lorena McKenna sing it and not me, because I'm turning bright red. But
yeah,
I do.
Yeah, and that quote that you said, I remember reading about it, and it said that I'm sick of shadows means she's sick of seeing the images in the mirror.
Yeah,
she really longed to see the real world.
And she hears and sees Lancelot because he's singing Tiralira. Tiralira by the river, sang Sir Lancelot. She left the web, she left the loom, she made 3 paces through the room. So this is not a very big tower.
Right.
Yeah. And that's all I have. That's all I have. You have a favorite thing?
Thanks everyone for hanging out and staying. Well, you know what I decided to do instead was I was just going to show 2 things. I'm going to be part of a very, very large, long shop hop on Sunday, hosted by the Trusty Huckster. Mm-hmm. And I am not on until 9 p.m. Eastern. Well, it's the kind of thing where you don't go on live. You record a drop sale. I mean, I think most people know what it is. But like for Susan, it's basically where I have to record a video where I show items for sale and I schedule it, and you kind of schedule it at a different time. And so all of us promote the next channel, and it's going to be a really long, long day. So I was going to show you guys 2 things that I was going to bring as like a preview. Like the only people who are going to get to see this is you guys. Is what 2 of my favorite things that I'm going to bring to the drop sale on Sunday, because I feel like no one is going to. Whoops, where'd you go?
You're good.
I kind of feel like everyone is going to be shopped out by the time they get to me. But I found this today at an estate sale. There was 2 estate sales on a Monday today, and it's really cool. It's definitely antique. I can tell by the clasp that just that old clasp on there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of wear on it, but it's a locket with the Eiffel Tower, and it's says New York on it. So it's just like a little
Oh,
souvenir.
Empire State Building.
What did I say?
Yeah, Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. Thank you.
I got you.
This is why I needed a younger co-host. What I thought was interesting is like the inside of it. It looks like it had a previous life. Like it had a design on the inside of it that they completely
looked like an inset picture or something.
like a stamped. No, like it was stamped from the top. Only they covered it.
Huh.
Like this, I think originally
Had something else on it.
Had a decorative like emboss on it. But I don't know. I thought this was cool. So I'm bringing this to the drop sale. And another cool thing that I have not shared with you, which is very cool. I'm kind of going, for the most part, I'm doing kind of like more Celtic, Irishy things for the drop sale. But a pewter ring holder with this beautiful Ophelia looking gal. This is
She's
by
a new lady.
Elias Pewter is who makes it. But isn't she cool? And I'm planning on I think this is just like a silver plated, but it kind of looks like a clover. So I thought I would put it together. Elias Pewter, Elias. But
what era is she from? Do you know?
Shape. Oh, I think this is, if I were to guess, this is probably 80s. I don't think this is like old. This is like, this is very nicely cast. Like, you can tell when something is like a casting is done nicely. This one is.
I need her in my fancy lady room.
It is a very nice casting. So,
what time on Sunday?
$25. Mine won't go until Sunday 9 Eastern.
Okay,
is when mine is supposed to drop. So these are my two favorite things. These are the two coolest things I'm bringing to my drop sale. So sneak preview.
All right.
What did you bring?
So I brought. Wait, where's my? Gotta find. I used to wear a uranium glass ring, and then I had an accident with it. So I've been on the lookout for uranium jewelry I can wear again. And at my favorite little antique booth, I found this little faceted. And so I broke out my little blacklight keychain. And let's see if I can not. Oh, here we go. So pretty. But yeah. And
that's a special piece. I think
it's faceted and lovely. It's simple. I do want to put it on a different chain. But it looks, if you were watching my linen thing yesterday, we were talking about having my friend tie-dye things, and this dress that I'm wearing, she tie-dyed, and it just matches my uranium so perfectly.
It's great.
That's my favorite thing.
I love
then
it.
my Tennyson book.
Oh, Maria's here. Hey, Maria.
We could just stay here and I could read you Tennyson because, I love poetry.
Well, I know that's the thing is like I would totally sit here.
What? I might have to sit in my new chair and read poetry. That might be a new feature on my channel because I love it. I love it. And I didn't know anything about mod. Like I flipped through this when I first got this book. I love this book. It's in terrible shape, so most people wouldn't buy this. Mm-hmm. But it's got an inscription that it was given to Maria with very best wishes from Uncle Louis and Auntie. That is a very strange name. Leo Lombra? Okay. June 17th, 1927. So not answers,
Awesome.
but
I love old
I can't.
books.
I have to figure out how to get a little light in my chair.
What you need to do is you need to get a one of those podcasting microphones so that you're right up in there while you're reading the poetry.
Yeah, it's got great acoustics because it's completely padded inside.
Okay.
So, well, thanks everybody for sticking with us and having
wasn't this fun? Tonight. I had fun. I'm gonna have to go watch it back and see what a mess I
was. You should make yourself bigger.
Oh shoot, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry my pages got all mixed up. I was trying to be organized and
yeah. Yeah. We look forward to seeing y'all next week. We'll be on my channel on Monday.
And everyone who's stayed to the end, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. We love all of you. Happy, happy, happy rest of the week. And we'll see you next Monday.
Bye.